How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTCReaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, it does look like we are pretty flat overall. Zoom in for you. So we are pretty flat, staying above that support level. That is positive, but we do need some strong green candles to push us up if we're going to see Dixie push forward. If we see Dixie pull back, remember, usually that would mean crypto would push up. Momentum does want to pull back. VWAP is starting to favor bearish, causing money flow to sell off. So watch that VWAP close. If it continues to drop, we likely will continue lower. We did try to peek into our support level, so we do have a lower high with a lower low. We have a small bearish continuation here. I would watch the MPP. Does say there's a 68% chance we could pull to the 107. But that may be invalidated because that was dependent on this previous high here, and we did make a push up around the 107, about that midway point for that MPP. So our next one does say there is a higher chance of getting a lower high, so watch for that lower high to be followed with a lower low. If we see another lower low, that's where bears would start to gain control. VWAP is trying to push down. It does want to break bearish, so watch it very close. If it breaks through and holds, momentum will reject, money flow will remain red, and higher time frames will break down. However, if that VWAP makes a strong bounce and gets a strong wave, making a consistent or higher high, similar to a wave like this and this, then we could continue forward and see a push up, kind of like we saw back here. However, if we see that VWAP start to weaken, then we will start to see further sell-off, so keep that in mind as well. So over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we are retesting that value area high. So again, watch that. If we break, that would be positive for altcoins. Stochastic does want to pull back. VWAP is favoring bearish. That momentum is in the bearish territory as well. And money flow is starting to push down. So overall, I would exercise caution, as our MPP does say we could try to make a higher low. That would be positive. But if we don't get a higher low, then we could see that dominance continue to drop, making a potential lower low. I'd watch that point control and value area low. And then if we make a lower low, that's where our altcoins would run very strongly against Bitcoin. And again, that wouldn't be the end of the world because Bitcoin can still go up while dominance weakens. It's just representative of Bitcoin versus the rest of the market. RSI is starting to pull back on total. Our VWAP does want to make a bounce off the neutral, so watch that VWAP close. It needs to stay above this neutral, otherwise momentum will round away and break down. It does have a red dot, so if that VWAP gets a consistent or lower low, we will see money flow break down. However, if that VWAP can push forward and we can invalidate that green dot, then we could see a decent bounce. But right now we do have lower highs and lower lows. Our MPP for this low here did say we could push up to about that 1 trillion. That may be our lower high. There's a high chance of that, so exercise caution over the next few days, because if we follow this with a lower low, that's where we will push down to that 749. However, the MPP does say we could try to make a higher high, but we're going to need some strength on lower time frames in order to get there. Over on the 1 hour here, we do have lower highs and consistent lows here, so I would watch. That may make some sort of a descending triangle, and remember, a descending triangle will push you down, and our MPP does say we may break this support level. Our stochastic is pushing down, RSI is weakening as a result. VWAP is starting to favor bearish, but we have a higher low as positive that can push momentum higher, providing we can follow it with a higher high. Money flow is bearish, so watch that VWAP close. If it continues to reject, then we will continue lower. Over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we do still have that high MPP probability, but remember, that's also followed by a lower high, and we pretty much filled that lower high, so still watch for lower lows. RSI is pulling back, momentum is pushing down, VWAP is rejecting neutral, and money flow is pulling back, so I would exercise caution, watch those lower time frames. If our money flow and VWAP maintain bearish momentum on lower time frames, remember that will weaken higher time frames and give us that potential for strong red candles. Stochastic does want to round away. VWAP is trying to break bullish after getting a lower low, but watch out for a lower high. If we get a lower high here, momentum will remain bearish, money flow will go from green into the red, and we will see higher time frames weaken as we would confirm bearish momentum. So over on Bitcoin for the daily, very similar. We have that MPP probability where we can push higher, but again, that's dependent on making a higher high, and we are seeing a bit of a rejection. We do have a long upper shadow candle, and a long upper shadow candle, if followed by a red candle, can break us down, and we may still see that 82k potential. But remember that 82k potential is also based on us making a higher low, and actually lower lows. So we did make a lower low. We did want to make a higher low. It's kind of hard to see, they're overlapping. So if we stretch things out, we did have this MPP breakdown here. It did say we could make a bounce around that 99k. We did not make that bounce. It does say we could still push to 82k. Now that's still here because if we see a rejection, then we could still continue to that range. And our other MPP was from this candle here, and it does project that we could hit this like 100k range, see a rejection there, 85% chance of a lower high, and then it does also say we could continue higher. But if we get lower highs, which we have, with lower lows, which we need to break this support, then we will have a bearish continuation, and that bearish continuation could still break us lower. That's why that 80k could still be in play, even though this MPP pretty much played out. RSI is starting to pull back, stochastic is pushing down, money flow is pulling back, VWAP is favoring bearish, and momentum is dropping down. So overall, I would watch very close. It does look like we are about to break a critical support level. RSI is starting to pull back on the 1 hour, stochastic wants around, and that VWAP is bullish, but we have a weak high, so watch if we break for a lower low. If we do, momentum will remain bearish, money flow will continue in the red, that will weaken higher time frames, and remember, that'll give us strong red candles. So over on graph for the daily, we are starting to see indecision here as well, a long upper shadow as well, confirming that this could be a lower high, getting a rounding top, and potentially setting us up for a lower low. Again, watch for a bounce off that value area high or that 16,316. So you may want to set some sort of trade if you want to buy a little bit more in this range. Maybe you want to buy just above that value area high. You can put an order in right there if you would like, or since we have quite a bit of buying pressure in that range, we could feel comfortable pulling it back down. And then if we don't get it, it's no big deal for us. But if you're worried about not getting it all, maybe you would want to set a little bit here, a little bit there. Remember, going all in at once isn't too helpful. You want DCA in, DCA out. So look at those support resistance areas. We have different supports and resistances going on here. So that's why we have multiple zones you could look at. Our stochastic does want to round, RSI is pushing down, VWAP does want to break away, momentum is rounding with a red dot, so watch that VWAP. If it continues lower, our money flow will go into the red and we will see continued bearish pressure. Over on the 1 hour, our MPP does say we could make a higher high, but that's a lower probability, and it did say there was a higher chance of making a lower high. We have that lower high, so watch for a lower low that breaks that 20-cent area. If we break that 20-cent area, then our MPP does say there's a chance of pushing around that 1849. So maybe that's where you would want to set your buy order. Stochastic does want to pull back, not financial advice. RSI is dropping down. VWAP is pushing down with a lower high, so watch for a lower low. If we see a lower low, then we could continue with strong red candles and continue to break down. But if we stay in bearish territory, we could just push down very slow. Momentum does want to pull back, so overall, watch that VWAP close. Over on Anchor for the daily, we do have lower highs and lower lows, much like the rest of the market, long upper shadow candle. So again, exercise caution, we could be rolling away, watch for a lower low. RSI is pulling back, stochastic is dropping away, momentum does have a red dot as a result of VWAP breaking down, so keep an eye on that as our money flow is weakening due to the bearish trajectory here, losing my words here. Over on the 1 hour, we do have lower highs, we do have lower lows. The lows are pretty flat overall in my opinion. The MPP wants to say they're lower lows, but you could draw a descending triangle here as well. And remember, descending triangles break you down, so that could give us a push right around that 30-cent range. RSI does want to pull back, stochastic is starting to round away. VWAP is rejecting that neutral, momentum is pushing down. Overall, that 1 hour doesn't look too positive, and if that VWAP continues lower, and our momentum and money flow will continue lower, weakening higher time frames. I believe we have most of our time frames in the red, so yeah, we have most of the time frames of 1, 2, and 4 hour in the red across most of these coins. Again, when you get that, you get your strong red candles. Over on XRP for the daily, we do have a technical long upper shadow candle. That's also a confirmation of a rejection, so we may see continued bearish momentum and we may see this pattern play out. So if you do want average down, maybe you're going to buy some more XRP somewhere in this like $70, $80 range. Maybe right around here. We have some candle wicks and bodies right around there, so that could be a decent DCA opportunity. RSI is starting to pull back, momentum is breaking down, VWAP is favoring bearish, and money flow is weakening, so overall I would exercise caution. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a lot of rejection here, so we did try to break forward. We tried to get a little bit of a bullish continuation, and then that was quickly snuffed out, so we do have a bearish continuation. Watch for a lower low, or if we continue to make this flat bottom with lower highs, that'll set up a little mini descending triangle as well. Stochastic doesn't want to pull back, RSI is pushing down, VWAP is breaking down, momentum is breaking down, and the money flow is in the red, so overall I would exercise caution. Over on Algo for the daily, again very similar to the rest of the market, long upper shadow candle, watch for further bearish momentum that could break us to our next support of that 28.48. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is dropping away, VWAP is breaking down, momentum is favoring bearish with the red dot as that VWAP breaks down. So watch the lower time frames, we could start to see some strong red candles here. Over on the 1 hour, we do have those lower highs and lower lows, so we do have that bearish continuation as well. Stochastic is pushing down, VWAP does have a higher low, but we also have a lower high. So watch that VWAP very close. If it continues to favor bearish, momentum will continue to break down, money flow will stay in the red, and again, that will weaken those higher time frames. We're already in the red in most of our time frames, the 1, 2, and 4 hour, and that does give us that environment for those strong red candles. So you may want to buy in somewhere at another support if you're looking for another DCA opportunity here as well. Maybe somewhere, if we look right around this 32, that'd be a decent area. We do have a lot of candle bodies and wicks here, and then maybe you look at previous price history, stretch this out. We do have some other consolidation ranges right around this 28.48. So those are kind of how you would want to find your DCA areas. Again, it's dependent on how much risk you want to take. If you want to maximize your gains, you're going to go for the lower one, but keep in mind, then that could leave you sitting out. So that's why it's important to get a little here and a little there. Don't go all in one zone. And remember, DCA is your friend. Thank you for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe.